Hey guys, Patrick and John here from McCann Custom Remodel, and in today's video we're going to show you from start to finish how we transform this into this. Now let's get into it. Alright, so to start off, tell me a little bit about the homeowners' goals for this project.
Well, the homeowners, they wanted a composite deck and they wanted a roof over it so they could sit out in the evenings in all kinds of weather. The homeowners actually did the demo, and we're using part of the old deck to create a larger deck with a roof over it.
Gotcha. And what made them decide that they wanted to update the exterior of their home?
It's something they always wanted to do, and they just weren't happy with the builder's grade deck that they had to begin with.
Gotcha. So right now what you're doing is laying the framing for the new deck, is that right?
That's correct. We're making it 4 feet further out from the house and 2 feet wider.
Gotcha.
And the 6x6s are in there to support the beams that are going to carry the roof.
So what's this picture showing?
We're putting the new joist on top of the old beam, put a new beam in, and we're connecting the two together to make it 4 feet longer.
Gotcha. So for this project, you were able to actually save a little bit of the old framing.
Yes, we saved actually most of the old framing. We had to change the ends for the picture frame that we're doing right now with the composite, and I really like the homeowner's decision. She used a dark color for the fascia and the outside picture frame border, and then a lighter color for the floor.
Gotcha. And so I remember that you guys had an interesting discussion about the where these pillars are going to go around the corners, and how you actually decided to cut the flooring so that way it goes around the pillars in a square shape. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, we picture framed around the stone that we were going to put in. We calculated on where the stone was going to sit, so it made it a really clean and nice and sharp picture frame around. Everything's 45. I don't know if you have any pictures in there or anything. Rather than just butting square into the stone, we actually 45'd and mitered and picture framed all the way around the stone.
So what are you doing with these boards?
These are the LVL beams. They're 9 1/4. We had to put 3 on each end. We had to cut into the existing house, put beam pockets in the house. We had to cut drywall out on the inside of the house to support the beam. And this beam is going to carry the trusses, scissor trusses, to create the vaulted ceiling and the roof to tie into the house.
Gotcha. And how did they get the plans for this? Did they need an architect for this project?
They did have to get an architect. You do have to have architectural drawings to do a project like this. It makes sure that the beams can carry the load of the roof, and the 6x6s are in properly, so it prevents uplift. So the actual footers are much deeper, much bigger. And you have to run rebar through the 6x6s and then fill the entire hole with concrete to prevent the uplift. Right here we're setting the first gable scissor truss because we're going to put trim on to give the illusion that there's a wall there. And then we rafter frame to tie it into the new roof, and now we're putting on 5/8 plywood.
So how do you actually know whether or not you need an architect for your project?
Anytime you're changing the structure of the house, you have to have an architect. Especially when you're adding a roof, because it has to be calculated by a structural engineer to make sure you have the proper size beams, that the trusses can carry the load, and how to prevent the uplift.
Tell us a little bit about the process for setting up this roof.
We had to make sure we had 2 days where there was absolutely going to be no rain. That gave us enough time to set all the trusses, scissor trusses, and sheet the roof, and then dry it in. We use ice and water guard in the valleys and on the first 3 feet, and then we put a synthetic felt paper on it. Right here we're creating a box step that is going to be framed just like the deck, so it's going to have the dark fascia, a dark picture frame border, and then the light board inside to finish the tread.
So tell me what your favorite thing about this whole project was, John.
I really love the bead ceiling. It gives it a really good look. The homeowners were really on top of this one. They picked out great colors, matching and everything. The exterior trim on the outside matched the house, so when we finished, it looked like it was always there. It was always a part of the house. And the colors matched really well. So right now we're putting the bead plywood on the gable ends that create that false wall, and that way it matches very similar to the beaded ceiling.
Gotcha. And what's the benefit of that other than just matching?
It's much cleaner look. It's just beautiful. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, that's a good reason for me. So what you're doing here is
we're creating columns to put the Versetta stone on. We're using a product called Versetta stone. It's a great product, but you have to build plywood shell around it and tie back it to waterproof it. And the stone is really easy to lay. It actually screws onto the plywood and locks into each other. You got to use a diamond tipped blade to cut it. Any cracks or gaps you fill with caulk, and you save the sawdust from when you cut the stone, and then brush it on there, and it makes it look like a mortar joint.
Gotcha. And we're actually coming to the end of this video right now because there was a bit too much wind for us to keep filming for outside. So
yes, it was very wide open spaces, and the wind would really whip through there. As a matter of fact, it knocked the camera over a couple times.
So these are a little bit of what the final project looked like from start to finish.
So as you see, very plain Jane builder's deck into a beautiful shake siding gable, bead ceiling, wood trim, and the Versetta stone. I really like the touch the architect added to the gable on the outside, which matches the front of the house.
And if you want to see more pictures from this project, make sure to click the link in the description to take you to the full album on our Facebook page. Or if you're in the Cincinnati, Ohio area and you're looking to have your home remodeled, our contact info is listed below. So thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe to our channel for more remodeling content.